Hi friends, welcome back to another reading. Today we're going to be looking at what you need to know about the separation regarding your person or friend or just whoever you have in mind. Do keep in mind that this is open to any romantic partners of some kind, or romantic interest. So if there is a message in here that is romantic that you don't necessarily agree with, please feel free to drop and leave that. I'm just the messenger, so please don't shoot me. Because it might just be a message for somebody that needs to hear it at the right time, you know, as they're watching this. But anyway, so we're going to be doing a general vibe check to let you know if this is your pile, and if you do resonate with this reading, you'll know by the general vibe check of the separation of what's going on. So we're going to be doing that, and then we'll be moving into your person's higher self and how they're looking at the separation and this connection versus your person's 3D self and how they're approaching the separation. We are going to do this person A, person B style. So we're going to be looking at, yes, your person's higher self and their 3D self, and also your higher self and your 3D self, and how you guys are approaching the separation. And lastly, we'll get some advice for the connection overall. Now, I hope that wasn't too much, but I really hope that you guys find some clarity in this and that this does help you. I was hoping to do a longer video today, so let's get to it. Hi there, Pile 1. Welcome to your reading. So you're at the general vibe check, so welcome. So I feel like I sound like a police officer. Yeah, let's see what's going on in regards to this separation and how the general energies are. 44, your dreams are closer than you think. Alrighty, so right away, I feel that this card is telling me, I'm hearing there's been a lot of emotion, like, not emotion, but tears shed over this connection. I think there's been a lot of emotional responses in regards to the separation and how the two of you have felt. I think that this impacted the two of you definitely, and this has been a very spiritual connection. I think it's brought a lot of emotional awareness to both of your lives, and I think that this has changed your lives for the greater and the better is what I'm hearing, whether that's through a very personal healing lesson that you've experienced with this person and for them as well. And I think that also this person has made you feel happy in ways you never thought you would be able to experience before, or just made you feel loved in ways, or have seen you in ways that were very intimate. That you maybe realize that I haven't really let people like this in my life before. So I feel like for the general vibe check, you could still be going through some sort of grief or some sort of shedding as of right now in regards to the separation. You could still be maybe even reminiscing of the past. Maybe it's nothing really heavy, although it could be. Feel free to discern, you know, whatever's right for you. I feel that there could be a reminiscence of the past, a little bit of, I just saw 444 on the clock, but oh yeah, we have 44 here. Oh my, so maybe that is like a popular sign that you've been seeing, like 444. But back to what I was saying, I feel that you could be reminiscing of the past. This person could be reminiscing of you, and there could be a sense of nostalgia here because you guys were really close and intimate. I feel that you've also understood that grief is love in a heavy coat as well. You've had a wider understanding of grief and loss, and I don't know if you or this person are at a point in the connection where you understand the privilege of loving and walking away as well. You're seeing how both is not necessarily negative or wrong, but both serve a purpose in life and just life cycles itself. And I feel that one person might be tapped into their emotions right now, One person is very tapped into their emotional truth and their fulfillment and what their heart wants and needs, whilst the other person could be trying to could just be trying to avoid this connection. So maybe someone here has had a theme of avoidance, or they just don't want anything to do with this connection emotionally, or they're at least presenting that in their 3D self. And what I mean by 3D self is someone, well, you know, the physical and what is shown to us at face value. And I feel like someone here might be putting up a guard or a wall, or someone here might just be trying to put on a poker face when in reality they're also feeling just as sad and hurt as you are, or vice versa, whoever you are and what you resonate with. There's no judgment or shame here. I feel like still both people are still hurting, and I feel like this may have been a fresh wound. This could be fresh for some of y'all, and for some of y'all it was not fresh. Like, this already took place however eras ago. But I feel it's a soft spot still for maybe one or the two of you, because it was something very intimate and something deep that you experienced and this person experienced as well. But one of you is not ready to face the emotional baggage or the emotional truth that has come with this separation, if that makes sense. I feel like one or both of you are just trying to focus on releasing your feelings as of right now and feeling them and honoring them to the best of your ability. And you're doing a wonderful job. Whoever you are, you're doing a wonderful job. And I just feel like you're focused on trying to create stability for yourself right now and generate a sort of security, because that's what you know you need right now. And I think that your focus has just been on making sure your feelings are heard and you're supported and you're crying it out, you know, and you're not invalidating your feelings when it comes to this separation, because those feelings are very real, you know. We don't have to pretend like it doesn't hurt, because it really does, and it's such a human experience. And I feel that maybe one of you definitely has been honoring their feelings here and is seeing the value of tapping into themselves, like emotionally here, for sure. All right, well, that concludes the vibe check. So if this is your reading and you resonate with it, welcome. All right, y'all, we're back. I couldn't shuffle on camera because I feel like it would have taken too long, but here we have the setup. So you can find yourself in person A, person B. I don't know which side you're going to resonate with, but choose whatever pile works for you. I'm just going to address this as person A, person B. So person A is going to be on the left side, person B will be on the right. So let's talk about the breakdown. Over here we have like their higher self with these two cards. We have person A's higher self and how they're approaching the separation. And then we have their 3D self represented by all of these cards here, and it's the same on this side. So I don't have a lot of space, but yes, these two cards represent person B's higher self and how they're approaching the separation. And then we have all these cards here representing their 3D self approaching this separation as well. Alrighty, so why don't we start with person A on the left side. So as I was shuffling and as I was seeing before, I had a feeling that some person was quite avoidant, and I think that it is person A, because I think that they're honestly in their head a lot. I'm not gonna lie, like both people are in their head, because we literally have in your head 8 of Swords on person B's side, but we're talking about person A. But I think that both energies are mirroring here, where person A is definitely in their head about this separation and what they're meant to do here. And I think that this person A's higher self is bringing a lot of endings in their lives for a reason. I think that person A's higher self as they're bringing a lot of endings and necessary separation for a reason, because person A has been too comfortable in themselves is what I heard. And it's quite interesting because we have the number 10 here and then the number 5. So I cannot help but feel like there is a lot of upheaval and change, especially with person A's foundations and what they once truly believed in, and their core beliefs are shifting heavily here. I definitely get the vibe that what they once knew is not working anymore. I also feel that this person also might be awakening to some sort of inner truth and intuitive truth. Like person A, I think, has a strong sense of intuition, but they often get in their head a lot. But I think now more than ever, their higher self has been speaking to them. I think even before the separation, in this connection too, but as of right now, it's definitely speaking to them a lot more about their beliefs and where to go next and what's important to them as of right now. Because if we have this card that represents their higher self, person A's higher self, this has to do with speaking your truth and your intuition and expression. And when paired together with the storm warning card, I feel like this person's higher self is very loud, and I just got the vibe that like somebody's like kicking down the door with party favors in their hands, and you know the one where like confetti pops out of it, like that's their higher self. I feel obviously it doesn't feel that fun. I don't think person A is having a very fun time. I just think that person A is feeling so much tremendous confusion and tremendous, I heard, responsibility, and they're feeling a sense of pressure and chaos because a lot of what they once knew in their life is not working anymore, and a lot of what they have tried to avoid is catching up to them, and there's an ending, yes, within this connection and also within their spiritual mastery, their spiritual understanding of the world. I feel like their sense of, what is it, spirit? Yes, okay. This person A's spiritual beliefs and spiritual standpoints from the past are not the same anymore, and I don't think that they were meant to be when they met person B. I think that person A went through a spiritual transformation and is still going through one, and I absolutely think that it's necessary for this person to have their worldview shifted. I think they can't hide anymore is also the vibe that I'm picking up here. They can't hide behind closed doors, and they can't stay safe. But even though I say that, I'm getting like a scared inner child vibe from person A. Like they don't know what's next and they're cowering in fear almost. And I do feel for them, because I also understand and I see their inner child, you know, behind the avoidance and the nonchalance or whatever mask that they have up. I also see beyond that, and I see their inner child, and I see that the inner child is longing for some sense of security and safety as they're going through these upheaval, these changes. And I think person A knew that they've seen this coming is what I'm understanding. They've seen this change, this complete shift in their life is something that they can't avoid anymore. And I think that it started with person B, and I don't think person B was intentionally being malicious in any kind of way, and I don't think person B was coming into this connection with a sense of chaos and a sense of like, I want to ruin your life. No, rather, I think the two of you had a lot of spiritual development and mastery going on in the connection and outside of this connection. I think that both of you, one person was much more aware of their spiritual nature and the other was just starting to awaken to it. And person A is giving me the vibe of someone who is just awakening to their spiritual beliefs and their spiritual stance in, you know, connections and in this lifetime. And, you know, no one is like bad here. I'm not judging anybody. I feel like person A is just kind of like, I don't know what the heck's happening. Get me out of here, mom. Like, I don't want to do this. Oh, yeah, like person A is just honestly like going through it, and I honestly understand. Because like having your beliefs uprooted and having what you once thought was safe and what you once thought was okay, to have that shift and change suddenly and over time. There's this quote I'm remembering, and there's a point I'm trying to make. When a man's world is falling apart, be kind to them because that was once their world. Something like that. And I feel like person A is just kind of like, there's a sense of like they're losing their home. They're losing their they're losing what they once thought was really important. And I think that their higher self right now is urging them to be more kinder to themselves throughout this ending and the separation of this connection, and especially to accept what is happening and to find a place of flow and rather rejection and rather resisting this change, to rather find a way to work with it. I do feel like person A is definitely in their head a lot. I mean, with the Two of Swords and the Four of Swords, this person is just like trying to, they don't know where to go when it comes to finding peace after this ending, and they don't know if it would be wise to say something to person B. I'm getting the vibe that they maybe want to communicate for some of y'all, especially with the 5th chakra and Archangel Gabriel. I don't know if this person is just hoping to say something and communicate, like put something to rest here, because maybe this was a chaotic ending, but I'm seeing for person A it was a chaotic ending, and for person B they've learned to accept and be okay with that. And we'll talk about person B in just a moment, but I do feel that there's a difference in how both these people are handling the separation. And I think that person A is in a way hoping to talk to person B to kind of find some sort of peace, or some sort of, to come to some sort of understanding here, but because they're feeling this inner tension, this inner frustration, this inner competition towards the separation, or maybe they felt like they misunderstood something and they're wanting some sort of clarity here. But however, this person is not quite, they're not in a place where they're ready to receive something proper, because, and I say that with the meaning of like, okay, like if you take a bunch of coffee, you take an exam, and you party the same day, and I don't know, let's say I don't know, let's say you have to suddenly move hometowns the next day, and all that caffeine and that partying and that drinking just did you so dirty, you know. You can't make a decision so suddenly and so fast, just like that. You know, you need like a day or two, or however many days to calm down. And I feel like this person is kind of like running on caffeine like I am. Obviously this person seems to be going through a lot, but like I feel like person A is kind of would be operating on a lens that like, I'm running on so much caffeine, my body's barely able to hold it together, like I can barely hold it together. And I feel like if person A were to come back into person B's life, it really just wouldn't be efficient, right? It just would not be the efficient way to do that. And it also wouldn't be an efficient time. It wouldn't be the appropriate time, because person A is honestly giving me the vibes that they haven't really fully healed from the ending here. And they're still feeling a sense of loss and competition, and I will say ego as well, because with the 5 of Wands, this does talk about the ego creating issues or problems that are perceived. And I'm not judging or shaming anybody here, but the 5 of Wands can definitely indicate someone who's conjuring up a lot of, I wouldn't say fantasies, but definitely a lot of scenarios in their head in which they're finding fault or blame or excuses to not do something, or they're perceiving a sense of danger or conflict, or, and it's having this person retreat into their shell. So either way, it's like I'm damned if I do this and damned if I don't, is what I'm understanding. And this person feels damned if they do talk, because they have a feeling this isn't gonna work, and they're damned if they don't, because if they don't, they feel like they may not get to say what they want to say, and they may not reach the bottom of this. That's what I'm understanding. Coffee break. Yeah, I just feel like person A has been going through it tremendously, and I honestly feel for them. If you're person A watching, there's no hate here, there's no judgment here. I'm just the messenger, and I meant to say the message that's meant to say, and you know, hopefully deliver a better understanding and better guidance here, as you know, about the separation, because I mean this video is about what you need to know about the separation. So, and I don't sugarcoat here. Obviously I won't be very blunt and disrespectful about it, but I also won't keep things hidden and lie, right? And I don't think that's why y'all would come here to watch a video, of course. So, I feel that their 3D self is conflicted. I mean, if you haven't really gathered that from what I was saying, they're very conflicted, as if that were, yeah, they're very conflicted. They don't know what to do, and they don't know if they should choose a more peaceful stance in their life, or if things are going to end horribly. They don't, it's like pick a struggle. Like, do you want to, what is it? What's the meme video? Pick a struggle? No, pick a hard, pick a harder. Pick a hard. Okay, yeah, now I remember. So there was this woman on TikTok a long time ago, and like I was watching her video, but it doesn't really matter. But she was like, pick a hard. Instead of saying pick a struggle, she was like, pick a hard. And what she meant by that was, in order to find peace, you have to have first a chaotic mind. You have to be able to work through a chaotic mind and to center yourself. That's one hard. Another hard is you can create all of these problems and these issues and not get anywhere where you want to be, and you'll just stay the same where you're at, just creating the same issue. And that's another hard, right? Pick your hard is what she said. And you know, you could pick your hard by choosing to work towards your peace, or you could pick your hard where the option is like, I can stay in my head creating cycle after cycle and seeing these scenarios and that haven't even played out, and it's just creating and adding more stress. And I can't help but feel like this is where person A is at. They're kind of like, how do I pick my heart? Like, what's the best decision here? And I feel like this person does not have a clear state of mind to be able to efficiently think and make a decision as of right now. I have a feeling that person A is also hoping for some sort of new beginning here with the Magician. They're trying to come forward skilled, and there's a sense of urgency. There's a sense of like, if I don't do this. The funny thing is person A has an avoidant thing going on. And yet they also have a sense of urgency to come forward and to say something here and to do something. Spirit, what's this Magician card about? Like, we need some clarifiers. Oopsies, my card just fell. I feel like this happens every time. For their 3D self. What's this about? Okay. I actually think I'm going to take that. All right. So we pulled some cards for the Magician, and we got the 10 of Swords and the 7 of Swords. Yeah, so this makes so much sense what I was saying. This person has a lot of self-fulfilling prophecy and deceptions when it comes to endings and separations. I feel like it's hard for this person to let go of an ending, or to even accept that things are over and that something new must be had, or there's an element of, I feel so anxious with an ending and I don't know how to sit with it, and so I try to force it to be better, or I try to force something to come out of it. And person A needs a lot of healing. I feel like their 3D self, if they're not careful, this is just going to lead to more self-sabotage. But honestly, I feel like their higher self is also communicating through these cards too, that this ending was a beginning to actually end their self-sabotage. I hope that makes sense. I feel like it's giving me the energy that the more you run, the more you avoid, the more it's going to catch up to you and find you, and you can't keep running forever. And I think that's what happened with person A, is that for a long time they've been going through patterns of self-sabotage and self-rejection, and I think self-hatred even, which is really deep. And I feel like they've been stabbing themselves in the back. I think that they've been the ones to avoid, reject, run away, and then think, why did that happen to me, when they didn't realize that they also had a role in that. And I feel like part of this separation, this ending, was to help them awaken to the truth that they've had a part and a role in that, and that needs to change and hopefully, you know, be healed. And I feel like that's why there's so much upheaval, and there's so much happening in this person's life because their higher self is trying to get them to understand that deep core beliefs regarding abandonment and avoidance need to be healed and touched upon. They need your attention. They need person A's attention as of right now. And I don't think that this person is in a healthy state of mind to have anything with person B at all. I don't think that this person is healed enough to understand their limits right now. And I don't think that they're able to, well, it's a process and they're working through it, but if they were to take action right now towards person B, I don't think that it would go the way that they're seeing it and envisioning it and hoping for it to go, because I also just heard it was a fantasy. Yeah, I did just hear it's a fantasy, and I can't help but wonder if this person already knows that if they were to reach out now, it would just be more chaos and it wouldn't be what they thought they saw in their head. Or I don't know if this person A is a little bit naive in the way that they're viewing the separation, that person B is really walking away. I mean, we have walking away right here, and maybe they don't want to accept that here. But I honestly think that person A has been going through it since a while now, and it's really catching up, and they feel like there's no escaping the waters, there's no escaping their emotional depths, there's no place for them to run or hide, and they're seeing all the darkest parts of themselves, and it's exposed and cracked open. And they maybe want person B's comfort, but they would be coming from a place of like, I have a void in me, and I want person B to comfort me and to be there for me. And while there's nothing wrong with receiving comfort, and we all need reassurance as human beings, we're all social beings, the issue is I feel that person A is not realizing that they also had the ability to work through these wounds and the capacity to accept this ending and walk away, and to also help themselves to be better. I feel like there's a big discrepancy with that, and they're maybe wanting person B to do a lot of what they need to do for themselves, and person B truthfully cannot be what person A needs them to be. One, because there's been a separation here, and two, person B, is not anyone's, parent or therapist. And I'm not saying that person A maybe like wants that. I just feel like person A is trying to fill a void in themselves that they haven't looked at in a very long time, and it's painful for them. Yeah. I feel that person A has had this internalized stress. They've had this, with the Four of Swords, it talks a lot about internalized stress, or having a sort of stress build up in you that's been going on for some time, and eventually the pot is gonna boil over if you don't pay attention to it, if you're not looking at it, right? Especially if tension is just getting hotter and hotter, and it's like turning up the heat on a stove. I feel like with the storm warning, I feel like for a long time that this person A has been feeling like they would have had an awaken of some sort, and I don't know if this was ever communicated between the two of you. I don't think so, but I feel that person A has had a feeling that something's going to happen, and their intuition was talking to them in a way that was like there is a change coming, and maybe they were not aware of that part of themselves. At the time they weren't open to seeing that part of themselves, and therefore they may have just thought it was like nothing, or just disregarded it. And now it's kind of like coming back to bite them in the ass, because there's a truth that they like, there's truth in their feeling, and it's kind of like, well, shit, I didn't know then, but I know now. I know now what it was trying to tell me. It's coming full circle for them in a way. Wow. I mean, honestly, I've also had moments where I would feel something and I would disregard it too, and it comes full circle. So I completely understand. Yeah, with that being said, let's look at person B on the right side to see how they're approaching this separation. As I was shuffling, I would like to say I got a strong feeling. As I was shuffling, I got a strong feeling that person B is focused on birthing something from the material realm. This could be like a project, a new job, or a new position at their place. They could be focused on discovering their passion and their intuition and their intuitive truth as of right now. And I feel that person B, well, clearly is walking away from this person and this connection, and rightfully so. They, you know, they have a right to make their decision. And I feel that person B is in their worth, and they know their truth of their worth, and they know their value, and as a result they're able to walk away from anything stressful, anything not serving them. I mean, underneath the walking away card, we have the 8 of Swords in your head. So I feel like person B is trying to really work through a lot of inner stress, any inner tension that they have. They're really paying attention to that and releasing the things that don't serve them, especially in regards to the separation. I feel like person B, this isn't to compare, but is a little bit more ahead in terms of releasing and healing and letting go. And this is not to say person A will never ever get there, and that person A, sorry, is not worthy of that. I just feel like person A has done a fair share amount of their healing, and quite possibly could have been on their way a long time already with this Knight of Pentacles. I feel like person A has maybe let go of person A. No, sorry. Person B has let go of person A for a long time already, and has been focused on themselves for a long time, and is now open to meeting other people, and is open to exploring options and exploring community and exploring expansion and creation. I feel like person B is much more in their creative energy. They're not very focused on the person A as of right now. I feel that person B's higher self has definitely been leading person B to walk away from the things that don't serve them, and the things that hinder them, and the things that don't align with them, especially when it comes to intuitive connections, because this card has to do with intuitive connections, I believe. If I am wrong, I apologize about that. Actually, let me double check the guidebook, because I have a feeling I was right, but I could be second guessing myself. No, I was right. Yep. Alrighty, so yeah, I just feel like person B has been walking away from the connections that aren't meant for them on a soul level. And I feel like person B is realizing that maybe this connection just wasn't it for them, and it wasn't what they wanted, it wasn't what they aligned with, it wasn't what they deserved. And I truly don't know the semantics of this connection and what has really gone down here, but all I do know is that person B's higher self is guiding them to realize that you deserve healthier soul connections, and soul connections that provide truth and clarity and honesty and allow you to be your fullest self. But yeah, as I was saying, you know, I feel that person B's higher self is trying to get them to walk away from connections that don't offer them truth and clarity and feel right at a soul level. I feel like this person's higher self is very much focused on developing intuitive connections and connections that align with this person's heart space. And I do feel like person B has done a fair amount of like walking away from, I will say, the things that did hurt them. For some of y'all watching, you could still be dealing with some stress right now, and could also be overworking as a way to compensate not dealing with that said stress. I feel like Spirit's kind of pointing that out for some of y'all. May not resonate with everyone, but I do feel like person B's higher self is trying to get them to understand that overworking is also not going to compensate for the things that their soul is needing. Overworking and focusing on the material realm is not necessarily going to bring them the spiritual expansion and fulfillment. Well, money, okay, money is a tool. Money is a part of freedom. Money is a part of happiness. I do agree with that. And it is a different kind of fulfillment. But I feel like person B's higher self is trying to tell them or give them a nudge that you can also have different fulfillments too. And your soul is looking for soul connection and intuitive connections that align with your highest good and your best self, and also your current self. You don't need to, you know, put on a show or anything like that. But I feel like person B for some time now has been focused on work, has been focused on the things in the material realm, has been focused on more external things, whereas I feel like person A has just been more internalized and has been focusing on their inner world a lot more. What's interesting is I feel like person B might be running into some inner struggles at work, whereas like person A is running into external struggle at work. That was really interesting. It's weird just how they had to point that out, but either way, I think that both have been through a lot. I also feel like person B could still definitely be in their head about this connection. I mean, with the Eight of Swords, I wouldn't doubt it. I feel like person B is also quite confused on person A and why person A did those things or said those things and why they behave that way in an avoidant manner. And person B is just, they're kind of not wanting to think about person A. They're kind of like wanting to shut it out or block it out as well, because I'm hearing I've had enough and I just want to move on with my life. And rightfully you have the right to do so, person B, if you're watching. I definitely feel like person B has also been through moments in which they couldn't figure out person A and had no reassurance or felt like they were alone in this process of trying to understand person A, because perhaps person A just was being vague or just wasn't being expressive enough with the things that were going on, and person B kind of had to internalize the things they don't understand and some stress. And yeah, I feel like person B for now is focused on developing a more consistent passion, something that works for them. I feel like they've been focused on their finances a lot. I feel that person B has been focused on their finances a lot and has been trying to improve that, and has been trying to collaborate with others to bring in more money, or as a result just work with other people to expand a project here. Overall, I feel like person B is in their physical realm trying to enjoy themselves right now, especially with the Knight of Wands here. I feel like they're just trying to enjoy themselves. They're trying to bring in some more excitement, some more passion, some more exploration and discovery. They're not necessarily focused on anybody. I don't really see that, although they could be. I feel like they're most so passionate and excited about projects that lie ahead, for sure. But I feel like person B's higher self is trying to get them to realize that even though there is this stressful situation, this stressful person, or this stressful thing in their life, you can still move towards the happiness that you truly know you deserve, and it doesn't end with one person or one thing. And I feel like it's been a while since maybe person B has visited this connection, if I'm going to be honest. Definitely has not I don't think that person B has revisited this connection in a while. I think it's been a while since since this ending has happened. But that may not be the case for all of you. I just feel like person B, their higher self, is trying to tell them you don't have to hold on to this emotional bag. And what's so interesting, what's so interesting is like both figures here are wearing something very flowy, and it's in the wind, and there's a lot of like, I would say instability, like there's nothing to hold on to. And like, I know this is about the higher self and it's about the 3D self, so that's really interesting. You know what the message is? I feel like person B's higher self is trying to get them to understand that if there is nothing solid you can grasp and hold on to when it comes to this person, why stay? Why stay with something that doesn't align with your stability and your groundedness and your comfort, right? Why stay with something that's being so vague and translucent and translucent in the way, but they're being very passive, and it doesn't feel like there's anything flexible or stable there, you know? Wow. I feel like with both people, there's a lot that's elusive. I feel like there's a lot that is elusive, and both don't quite understand about their physical self and their spiritual self. I feel like there's a disconnect here. And I'm also hearing it wasn't the right time. Like, it wasn't the right time, and I should have known better. And so maybe this might be coming from person B. It wasn't the right time. It was the wrong person, wrong time. And truthfully, there could be regrets here. There could definitely be regrets on person B's side for how it ended, how things just escalated, how things are now. And I would like to say, person B, it's really not your fault for how things unfolded as well. You know, it takes two to tango. You know, it really takes two to tango here. And both people have a role to play in this as well. And the true way to healing and getting closer to yourself is to find some forgiveness too, right? It contributes to understanding yourself much more at a heart center level, and obviously that's when you're ready. I do feel like Spirit is saying you're worthy of spiritual connections, and you're worthy of someone who's going to be honest and transparent and open with you and expressive, right? And I think that also I'm getting a vibe that person A shut out person B's like emotions and fears and insecurities too, because person A just didn't know how to handle that in themselves, and it hurt person B because person B was trying to look for somebody who understood them and could accept them for their insecurities and such, and to listen to them, not necessarily change that, but to listen. And person A just was not the right person for them at the time that they needed. And it also contributed to why they had to walk away and focus on something else, like change their priorities. I'm really sorry if you experienced that, like person B. If you're watching your person B, like, I'm sorry if you experienced that. You do deserve someone who's going to hold space and compassion for you, and you do deserve someone who's going to, you know, not change you, but rather try to accept you and work with you and try to love you as you are, you know, and encourage you to be a better person for yourself, right? And I think that's exactly what you wanted, and did not receive that here. And as a result, I feel like your higher self is, I feel like person B's higher self, I keep thinking you're person B watching this, but you may not be. And I think that person B's higher self is just trying to get them to understand that, you know, there are people who out there are not evolved to meet our needs. And there are people who, yes, are not capable of meeting us and rising to meet us. Or them, sorry. There are people who are incapable of evolving. It's our decision and what we decide to do to either stay with that or to, you know, leave it where it's at. We have to make healthy decisions for ourselves and incorporate healthy people in our life and healthier connections. And I feel that's what person B is learning a lot about. And I also feel like person B is looking for new people, new passionate people, trying to open up a social circle here that's more fun, that's more inclusive, that's more adventurous. And they're trying to get out of their head. They're trying to focus more on building friendship. They're trying to focus on building some stronger, solid connections within the world. And they're still looking for their community. And I feel like person B is on their way to finding their community, honestly. And their higher self is a compass pointing them in that direction of where to go. And slowly but surely, I feel like they're going to be walking away from anything that doesn't serve them, including their mind, including the things that their mind says, and including the hard and painful things that it may replay. I feel like at some point it's going to be put to rest, right? So I feel like person B is very dedicated, loyal, and is very much passionate and driven. And I'm also hearing it got stumped in this connection. I'm hearing that they felt stumped, or they felt like they couldn't be themselves. And I'm getting a feeling that most of you might be person B watching this, although it doesn't have to be. But I feel like person B, just their passion and their fire just went out, or it got stumped, and they felt like they couldn't have that with person A. Maybe that's due to third party, and I don't really like to use that word, but like third party could be a person, a job, family, it could be anything, not just like a relationship, but perhaps due to circumstances, person B just felt like they couldn't fully be themselves with person A and continue something with them. And it's very possible that person B had too much going on in their life, especially mentally. Their mental state could not have been the best in this connection, and it just progressed. It got worse over time. Perhaps their circumstances were not changing, and as a result it was just adding more stress. And person B was just kind of like, I can't be myself in this anymore, it's hurting me too. And maybe I'm getting a sense of person B also didn't want it to end this way, and they understand person A, they do. And I don't know if this is their higher self just kind of looking at person A with a compassionate lens and saying, I understand you couldn't be what you wanted me to be, but and I need to be able to give myself what it is that I'm looking for and what I need anyway. And the sun just came out, so oh my god, I feel like that's a really big sign for person B. Honestly, like, I feel like person B, and listen, the sun hasn't been out for like the entire day, so I find it very interesting. It just came out, and I love the sun. I love when the sun comes out, it makes me feel so happy. But I feel like person B is honestly on their way to a road of success and happiness, and a road of expansion and truth, and they honestly just want the best for person A. And they also understand that they have to be able to step up and give themselves the best now, because they can't change other people, and especially they cannot change person A to be what they need to be. So they either have to walk away and find better, or either person A will be better for them. But you know, I feel like this is something they've been grappling with, and they understand now. I feel like person B has done a lot of healing and is trying to understand person A and their actions and such, and by doing that, it's helping person B move on and foster acceptance and compassion for themselves and also person A. They understand the actions of person A, and although at some point they may have been confused, I feel like their higher self has been trying to maybe generate some peace here, so that way person B doesn't need to hold on to person A so tightly because of the past and how it ended, and therefore person B can make more room and space in their life for the things that truly need to stay and truly do matter. Alrighty, let's go and get some advice for the connection and for the two of you overall. Alright, Spirit, let's get some advice for person A in this connection, please. Because I don't know if you're person A watching this, and you could be. Oh, were these all in reverse? Yeah, they are. Oopsies. Okay. Let's reshuffle that. Advice for person A, Page of Pentacles, the Death in reverse. Advice for person B, Spirit. Get some lovely advice for person B in this separation. Ooh. Wheel of Fortune. God, every time I see the card, I think about like fuck around and find out, because like this is such a vague card. Some advice for person B. Six of Cups. Lovely. Okay. Alrighty, so depending on who you are watching this, you can skip ahead. Or if you'd like to stay for like all of it, by all means go ahead. It's your choice. I will say for person A watching, like this left here, I feel like your advice is to focus on developing yourself and to focus on releasing codependency, focus on releasing this fear of the unknown, and focus on what makes you just ambitious, focus on what makes you motivated, focus on what makes you what drives your drive, basically, and like focus on what makes you so focused, right? If you've been avoiding the unknown and avoiding the journey ahead of you because of fear, it's because you are growing, and it's because there is an expansion happening, and the fear of the unknown is a sign of growth. You can't grow if you don't feel comfortable first in your own skin, and you can't understand that something needs to change without feeling a sort of way about it first, is what I'm understanding. And I feel like for person A, you're being urged to understand the essence of the long term here, how the long term would be if you just walked away and listened to yourself, and if you listen to your intuition. What would your life look like in the long term if you had found some acceptance for where you're currently at, and how this journey could possibly get even more good and peaceful, and you know, because I feel like there is a feeling of like peace, and there is a feeling of, I can release this, I can let go. I just need to find the ambition to do so and find the courage in myself to do so. So I feel like person A, if you're struggling with the unknown, there is a sense of like developing your understanding of what it means to go in the unknown, and what this unknown could possibly bring you to. It could bring you to a better understanding of yourself. I feel like this is more so an encouragement of healing. This most so feels like Spirit is encouraging you to heal and to move forward, rather than like you have to do this or X, Y, and Z. I feel like Spirit's encouraging you to take it slow and focus on your personal development, because the Page of Pentacles is all about personal development and personal expansion and growth. That's how I view it. This is also someone who's quite dedicated and focused to themselves, and gathering knowledge over time. And I feel like Spirit is saying that, you know, there's no need to rush this healing. There's no need to do anything from a sense of urgency. Really take care of yourself right now and nurture your needs. And if you need to go outside to take a walk, it would help you a lot, you know. And if you've been holding on to this connection and this person a lot, it would benefit you to let go of it. And because the Death card in reverse is a sign of holding on to things that have already ended. It is a sign that you're holding on to things that are not fruitful anymore, and you're holding on to things that are not bearing anything, and the things that don't work. And it's time to release that. And it's time for some new energy. The Page of Pentacles is a very new and fresh energy, and it's time to start over. It's time to turn a page. It's time to, you know, let go of what once was, is what I'm understanding for person A. Because you can't honor your transformation fully if you don't let yourself let go first too. You can't fully let go of what once was in your old habits if you're still holding on to them tightly, right? Truthfully, it is a process, and at your own discretion, at your own pace, you can let go, of course. But I feel like Spirit is saying at some point you're going to really have to let go of this connection, this ending, this wounding, this fear related to this separation. Something is going to have, you're going to have to let go many times. I don't know if there was a feeling of love here for person A towards person B, because I just heard, as long as you keep loving it, you'll have to continue letting go of it. And it's a process that happens a million times. And it sounds a little bit dramatic, but I feel like person A did have a lot of deep feelings, and I feel like I'm speaking from my heart now than I was earlier. I feel like person A did have a lot of feelings, but struggled to express them properly to person A, and struggled to find some comfort in their own expression and truth. And now it's kind of like, it's a bittersweet feeling of, I loved you so much, and like I have to let you go as much as I continue to love you. I have to let you go too. It's like a process of both, is what I'm understanding for person A. Wow. Wow, so that might be like resonating for whoever's watching this, but let's talk about person B. I feel like person B is definitely feeling a bit like they're also in the unknown. I'm not gonna lie, because both cards deal with the unknown. But I feel like person B is trying to engage their inner child as of right now, or they're being told to interact more with their inner child to face this unknown. That's what's going to help them. I feel like what's going to help person B move through the separation or in this connection is to get in touch with their feelings, get in touch with the things that bring them comfort, you know, get in touch with the things you used to do as a child, and that will help you move forward, because you're building that bond and you're building that connection within yourself first and foremost. And ultimately, I feel like person B is honestly trying to see the world through a better and bigger lens, and I feel like their inner child is feeling a little bit in the unknown, and they need reassurance right now. So if you're person B and you're watching this, give yourself some reassurance, give yourself a pat on the back, and embrace the unknown. Embrace the, you know, the fuck around and find out energy. Embrace the fact that anything could happen now, and it doesn't necessarily need to be a bad thing. They could be positive, wonderful experiences, and now there's so much space and room for it to unfold, anything to unfold. They're saying to like embody that kind of energy, that you're meant to be here at this moment, and absolutely nothing could go wrong if you were listening to your heart and your inner child. Nothing could go wrong if you were listening to your intuition this entire time, is what I'm understanding. And I don't know if that's some sort of reassurance some of you may need to hear. So maybe some of you guys might be feeling like a little paranoid, like, have I been doing this wrong? Have I been healing wrong? And I feel like Spirit's saying, you can't get it wrong. It's healing. It's healing even if you make mistakes. It's healing even when you learn from your mistakes. You can't get it wrong. You can't get it wrong if you're learning to grow, right? And if your intention is to grow, you can't get it wrong, right? So I strongly feel like for person B, there's a need to kind of get comfortable with the unknown too. There's a need to kind of get comfortable with the inner child and to rebuild a connection there and do some meditation around the heart here. And I feel like person B, if you've been reminiscing on the past lately, and that's why you probably picked up on this reading, I feel like it is a time for change and to move forward and to pursue new developments in your life, is what Spirit is saying. And it's okay to reminisce and think of the past as well. It's okay. We all do that. I still do that. I still think about my hamster I had that sadly passed away. I don't know why I'm talking about it, but his name was Harry. Rest in peace, Harry. But I feel that it's time to embrace new developments too. There's an energy of like it's time for new things here for both people, honestly. It's time to look forward to the new. Yeah, thank you so much for watching pile one. I mean, this was like an awesome reading, and I really hope that it brought you some clarity as to what's going on in this separation. But yeah, thank you so much. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It would greatly help this channel, and hope to see you again. Bye. Hi there, pile two. Welcome to your reading. Today we're going to be discussing what you need to know about the separation, and if you skipped the intro, we're going to be talking about, well, yes, the general vibe. This is your general vibe check, and if this doesn't resonate, feel free to choose another pile. This might not be your pile. And we're also going to be talking about your person's higher self versus 3D self approaching the separation, and for you as well. You might find yourself in both piles or just one pile. Feel free to pick whatever resonates, and we'll get you some advice at the end. But stay tuned for that. Let's get started. All right, so we have the number 33, ripe fruits. Okay. Alrighty, so I will say for the general vibe check is there's something about to ripen here. I mean, literally, ripe fruits. There's something about the timing and the divineness of a connection unfolding here. There's something about divine timing. There's something about fruition. There's something about something coming to a head is what I just heard. And there's something about receiving pleasure. And when I think about the grapes, I think about, you know, fruitfulness. And I think about, well, yeah, it's fruit, but like, I think about, like, pleasure. And I think about provision. And I think about harvest. And I think about abundance when I think about the grapes. And I feel like there's something very abundant, either that's going on in your life or surrounding this connection or in their life. I feel like there's a lot of spirituality surrounding this connection too, and perhaps you are caring for yourself a lot throughout the separation. You've been focused on yourself, you've been focused on your beauty, you've been focused on giving yourself that stability, security, and abundance. And this person is spiritually catching on to that, and they're feeling your energy, they're feeling you out. So there could be a lot of that going on. I also feel like maybe you've been getting your nails done, because this figure has their nails done if you're watching. Yeah, overall you could just be caring for your health a lot more, your body, your physical looks, and you're ready to attract something new in some sort of area of your life. And it could be love related, it could be about money, it could be about, you know, physical material wealth. You feel like you're ready to attract into your life, and it's coming in. I feel like Spirit's saying it's coming in, it's manifesting, or something related to this connection could be unfolding and manifesting, and you intuitively picked up on it as well. But that's only going to resonate if you want something to happen here with this person. Also, I feel like with the spiral here in the hand, there's something to do with touch and healing. I don't know if you've been physically intimate with this person. You could have been physically intimate with this person. Yeah, that could just be like a confirmation of some sort. But there's a lot of like yellow, and I think about the solar plexus, and I think about confidence, and I think about you've been feeling self-assured or confident, maybe in regards to this connection or yourself in general. You've been feeling like yourself, you've been working on self-esteem issues, you've been working on fostering more respect for yourself and boundaries, better boundaries. So perhaps all of this is just a confirmation that, you know, this is your reading. I feel like a lot of it is very much about yourself, for sure. And I feel like after this separation, you've been experiencing a lot of, I heard cash inflow, cash money, and abundance. So if this is something you resonate with, let's get on with your reading. Alrighty. Hi there, pile 2. I couldn't shuffle on camera. It would have taken way too long, but we're here now. So let's talk about this breakdown. So these two cards are, well, for both people, represent their higher selves and how you guys are approaching, how your higher selves are approaching this connection. So this is person A, person B. You could resonate with whatever side. You could also even find yourself in both sides. And these cards here at the bottom represent the 3D self, the physical manifestation of yourself and how you're approaching this separation. So we're going to start with person A on the left side here. I'm going to shift these down a little bit. All right, so this is this is person B's side here. All right, person A. Let's talk about you if you're watching this. Spotlight's going to be on you. Alrighty, so person A's higher self. I mean, we have the appreciation card and the rest and rejuvenation card, and I honestly picked up on such a strong healing energy when I had begun to shuffle this. I mean, when I was reading the vibe check cards, someone had a very abundant energy to them, and I think it's person A. Honestly, I really think it's person A that has a very healing, rejuvenating energy to them, and even their higher self is modeling that as well, which is wonderful. So to see that their 3D self is very much mirroring their higher self is really interesting to me, and it's also a really good thing. I feel like this person's higher self, I feel like person A is very much tapped into their higher self, of course, and knows their higher self's truth, and has been doing a lot of meditation and doing a lot of inner work to tap into their truth and to tap into what they know is right and best and authentic for them. And as a result, has been harboring secrets of the universe, is what I heard, like harboring secrets of the universe. And I mean, these two cards are like very specific to the deck, and the fact that they both came out like is like stunning to me, like shocking, like wow. Both cards in succession. So I feel like this person A is very much in touch with their higher self after this ending, the separation. They are aware that their heart has like been hurt in some kind of way, and it needs to heal. It needs some time. It needs to rest. It needs some time alone. and they've been doing a lot to care for themselves. And what's interesting is we have the final two with the Two of Pentacles, and this card is strongly giving me someone who cares for themselves and someone who hasn't forgotten about their needs and someone who makes sure other people's needs are met, and so their needs can be met too. I'm strongly getting the vibe that this is someone who's observant, aware, like their awareness is there and they don't forget about themselves. And I think that person is in a really good spot, honestly. They're caring for themselves. They're looking after themselves physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. They've been tapping into themselves. They've been really pouring into themselves. And their higher self, I feel, has a message for them that appreciation, true appreciation, comes from within yourself and caring for yourself. And they've been embodying that truth, and because of that, I feel that they've been giving out peace and receiving peace in return. And I don't think that person A's life is quite chaotic at all. Rather, I feel like they've had a lot of time to rest, and there's been a quiet lull period after the separation that they've been able to go inward and retreat and come back to themselves. I feel like person A is very much focused on coming back to themselves. They're not focused on rushing. They're focused on inward transformation, because yeah, I feel like they're focused on inward transformation. There's a lot of like unconditional love and balance here, because it adds up to 6, and then this is 10, and like we have the final 2 with the balance here. So like I can't help but feel like person A is coming forward very balanced in the separation. They understand perspectives are important. They could have strong Libra placements, by the way, and Pisces. But this person A has a keen understanding for perspective, and they understand the necessity for seeing things in a different light, and they have been seeing things from person B's standpoint and also their standpoint and the universe's standpoint, and they've been juggling different perspectives, and because of that, it's brought them so much healing and inner peace and inner guidance. They know very well how to balance and juggle different perspectives in life, and they're no stranger to seeing things in a different light. They're no stranger to what it is they need to do to heal their heart. I feel that this person's higher self is trying to get them to walk a path of truth and abundance and true peace. Not the kind of peace that like people market nowadays, but like true peace as in knowing your truth and knowing that nothing outside of you can change or stop that, and knowing what it is that your heart truly desires and attracting that. This person is in a very attractive energy, and they've been working on themselves for a long time. And also this adds up to 10, so I will say this person has been working on their perception of love, their perception of relationships, their beliefs about love and how it should come, how it should go, and like everything related to that. They've been working on it very closely with the universe and themselves, or whatever they respectfully believe in. And because of that, they're like able to move forward in a very humble, healing, peaceful sense. I don't believe that person A is harboring anything against person B. Rather, actually, their higher self has so much appreciation for person B. There's so much appreciation here. There's so much desire. There's so much like, honestly, what happened here? Why was there a separation? Because I feel like both of y'all are honestly desiring one another and appreciating one another, like, and so curious about one another, but not in a way that's like detrimental, especially not to person A. But I feel like person B might be experiencing a little bit more anxiety, but there's some sort of keen desire here, and like a sense of like, how do I approach this connection again? It's also very possible person A needed to kind of focus on themselves and they couldn't stay committed. If that was the case, or person B, that could have been true for person B. They could have just not, someone here needed to continue to prioritize themselves and could not show up to a connection fully. And I think that it didn't harbor feelings of like anger or something. I think both understood. I feel like there's both mutual attraction and desire and appreciation, even from the higher self perspective. And I feel like this person's 3D and higher self is very much like integrated, which I love to see. That's like wonderful. And I feel that person A, if you're watching, wonderful job, kudos to you, like snaps to you, like wow. And I feel like person A has just honestly been on this journey of balancing their needs and their wants and going inward when there's a lot of chaos around them. And I think person A is trying to surround themselves with a lot of healing, peace, and truth. And I think they've been awakening to their own power, their personal power after everything they've experienced and been through. They've been awakening to their own inner truths, and they've been tapping into like the most deepest parts of themselves and alchemizing those parts and really doing a 360 view on the parts of them that have never seen the light before. The limelight is what I heard. And they've been trying to learn from their higher self too. And I wouldn't be surprised if person A was very spiritual. I feel like their higher self has had so much wisdom to give to them in terms of like being grateful for the things around them and themselves included. And but not only that, but like for experiences they've had that didn't work out too. And I heard divine rejection is protection. So I wonder if person A is kind of like, yeah, person A is going through a sort of acceptance and finding rejuvenation and just accepting things as they are and finding true peace and being okay with the things that have ended. And but there is like a desire for person B here, and person B is also desiring person A. Like I can feel it. Like both are definitely on each other's mind. And I think that person A's higher self has a lot of like thanks and gratitude for person B, because I honestly think that person B has shown a lot to person A, and person A has shown a lot to person B in terms of like spiritual expansion and growth here and emotional growth. Person A could have been like a teacher to person B almost, and encourage person B to explore these sides to them that they never knew that they had, or maybe person B was on like a journey already but then met person A, and from there things just began to make sense and click. You know, and there's this feeling that person B and person A are communicating telepathically, and there's a feeling of like wondering about the future here and wondering if this could still work out. So I don't know if there's been a great deal of distance between the two of you, a great deal of time that's passed, and the two of you have been working on yourself, and the two of you have been just been more in solitude. And I just heard confinement. I don't know what that's about, but disregard that, that doesn't make sense. But like it could be my silly brain. I'm on my 3rd cup of coffee, but and I'm not a regular coffee drinker at all, so yeah, so I'm just getting the vibe that like both of you might be thinking of the future and how this could work out. You guys are both still in each other's mind. You guys both could be weighing options, and this is the thing that's happening on both sides. There is still a spiritual bond and connection here that you two notice and realize, and I think you guys are wondering if this could still move forward, if this could still happen. And if this were to happen, what would that mean for the long term? I think there's a lot of that. I think person A is trying to play with the idea that like, you know, they've got it together, they focused on themselves, they got their shit together. So what would this look like if they came back to person B, and like vice versa, right? Honestly, I feel like person A, there's not much to talk about, if I'm gonna be real, because like person A has just got their shit together, and kudos to them. Like person A is just out here healing and yeehawing, and their energy's just like yeehawing, man. Like I feel like I don't even have to touch base on much, because they're the ones touching base on themselves. Like they're the ones keeping themselves in check, you know. And it's honestly amazing to see. It's not often that happens. So let's talk about person B over here. So person B, how you're approaching this separation, I still feel like you have a lot of fears and you have a lot of doubts that you're trying to transcend. I think that you are aware, I just saw 222 on the clock. that might be an important sign for you, or you've been seeing that a lot. But either way, I feel like you've been trying to transcend a lot when it comes to your fears and doubts and the things you don't understand. And in regards to this separation, I feel like person B has, I just heard, been dragged through the mud, has been through a lot when it regarding their fears, regarding where their perception is at. And I think that person B understands that where their perception is at is how life will play out. And I think there's just an element of your perception makes life here for person B. And I feel like their perception in the past has been through a lens of fear and doubt and anxiety, and they've been recreating scenarios that don't work for them. They've been recreating scenarios that just feed into pain and self-sabotage and unnecessary dilemma. And I feel that person B definitely saw this as a sudden shock to their system. I don't think they were expecting a breakup or a separation here, and I think that's what made it very difficult for them to release this person. I think that person B took it on really hard, and I think that there's some sort of illusion, I'm not gonna lie, with person B, that they weren't fully understanding. I think that they were in a fantasy world where they were expecting things to work out, and then reality kind of hit them like a truck, and then it wasn't the case, and now all their fears are like coming out and spilling out, and they can no longer hide and run from the truth of themselves. I feel that person B has just been through a lot in terms of like realizing where and what true abundance is, and this feels more like it was a lesson for person B, although it could have been a lesson for person A. I feel like something here happened in this connection that made person B realize a whole lot after the ending. And truthfully, person A could have been through a lot too. I mean, to get to a place of peace, like it takes a lot of work and dedication, right? But I feel like person A was a lot more secure in themselves, whereas person B had a bit of an anxious attachment going on. And this isn't to like judge or shame anyone, of course. We're all just working through our wounds respectfully, so, and you know, it's a process. And I feel that person B has had a lot of awakenings in their fantasy world. They couldn't continue living in a fantasy, and they couldn't continue living one way, which was that everything was so sweet and jovial and everything was so like fun. And there's nothing wrong with things being sweet and fun and jovial, absolutely not. I feel like person B is struggling with this concept that things can't be fun and sweet anymore because reality exists, and it's like, not necessarily. Person B, if you're person B watching, I feel like reality doesn't need to be cruel and negative all the time, and it doesn't need to be so difficult and so like out of this world, you know. It doesn't need to be some sort of big negative thing, and it's okay to have loving, fun experiences. I don't think the point of life is to, well, Spirit is saying that it's not meant to take away those experiences, but to also add value to when you do have those experiences, to also, one, cherish them, and which I'm not saying you don't, if you're watching this and you're person B, to, one, cherish those experiences, and to let yourself receive those experiences, right? And also to find healing through positivity and through those moments. I feel that person B definitely has had a shock to their system and an awakening when this ended. I felt like they couldn't understand why this was the case, and why this unfolded the way it did, especially when they thought things were going right. But then now their higher self is trying to point out that there needs to be a change. And the thing is, I think that this person is beginning to awaken to what their higher self is saying, actually, because now they're trying to mirror their higher self too, just like person A. Of course it's different, but I feel like person B's higher self, and it's all connected. So even though it's about their personal healing, it's still connected to this connection, and I'll explain why. Because person B is their higher self is trying to teach them that their constant wounding, their constant fear, scavenging, their constant attachment to fear I don't like to say the word manifested into something real. No, I really don't like that. It's similar to that. I'm trying to find the right words. It's almost as if their fears contributed to their behavior unfolding in the physical. Yes, their subconscious and their patterns contributed to what happened in the physical, and it contributes to how their connections play out. Now, am I gonna sit here and just put all the blame on person B? No, because we're all humans and we've all had experiences growing up that, you know, affected us. And I feel like their higher self is trying, this ending was a wake-up call for person B to realize, what are these fears, where are they coming from, and how did that play a role in this, right? Like, where was I insecure in myself, and how did I show up insecurely in this connection, right? There's almost an energy of like person B being very reliant on person A almost, and not, they were almost like falling back into some sort of pattern or some sort of regression of codependency here. Yes, codependency. And I feel like when person A left, it made them aware of like that there is still an emptiness there that was present, even if person A was present. You know, person A couldn't fulfill that void, and it's still there present in person B. So what does that mean? You know, what does that mean for me? They're kind of like questioning, why is it still here? You know, maybe person A wasn't meant to fulfill that, and I'm meant to fix something or like heal something here on my own. Nonetheless, I feel like person B has a lot of attraction and instant desire towards person A in their spiritual journey. I mean, with the Ace of Wands, they're very attracted to person A, physically even. And I feel like they're having fantasies about person A coming back in their life, and they're having fantasies about exploring what could be. However, I think that person B has a lot to yet understand when it comes to their fears, and how their fears played a role in them not being available in terms of the connection and holding themselves back in the connection, you know. And what's interesting, I feel like most of y'all might be person B. I feel that most of you might be person B watching this, although you don't have to be. I feel like person B is already realizing a lot in terms that their fears need to change. Something needs to click, something needs to happen here, and they've been unavailable, they've been hiding, they've been resisting opening up, and they've been focused on one thing. I heard one track mind. They've been focused on fears too much. And I think that they've been too much in their fantasy world, thinking about potential all the time, instead of reality, and instead of a grounded approach to things and a practical approach. I think they've been in their head a lot when it comes to this connection and how it'll play out. And I think that person B is very great at fantasizing and imagining things and having that manifest and play out. But I think when it came to this connection, they regressed in a codependent way in which they were not taking steps to make those happen. And part of it is because of their fear, right? And I think that person B very much still feels very attracted to person A in a spiritual sense. The Ace of Wands does rule like a spiritual connection here and a spiritual feeling, and it does rule a lot of physical attraction. I think they do heavily fantasize and think about the future with person A, but they know, it's like their higher self is telling them, you know, there's a temptation beyond the gates, there's a temptation beyond where they're currently at, and there's a feeling that person B is not quite where they need to be just yet in order to be with person A, if that makes sense. And I don't think their higher self is saying you'll never ever have what you want. I do think their higher self is saying there's something to be realized here that is trying to come out to fruition. But I think that person B is slowly becoming aware of how life played a role in like how this happened, like fate or the universe or destiny or something. Like it feels like shit, like this happened to show me something, you know, and they're taking accountability for that. I will say that this person is looking to revive some sort of spark, like person B, after a period of like boredom or just introspection and going inward a lot. I feel like they're looking for something to change here, and they're thinking about person A and maybe reviving something with them here. And I also think that person A is also thinking about person B just as much. But what's different, I feel like person A is a lot more secure and stable in how they show up, and person B is just now learning about being secure in themselves. Because they could be like an anxious person, they could be anxiously attached, right? I feel like they're very much enamored by person A. And what's interesting is I said that there's a lot of physical attraction here, and while I know that these cards have to do with the higher self, this person has a very attractive body. So I don't know. Oh my gosh, didn't I say like in the vibe check that you guys may have been physically intimate at some point? So maybe that really did happen, and person B just kind of like thinking about that, and that's like further drawing their attention to person A. But there needs to be spiritual compatibility is what both higher selves are saying. There needs to be spiritual compatibility between the two for this to expand and grow into the long term too. The physical attraction is great, right? Don't get me wrong. I feel like the higher self is saying, don't get me wrong, like, but y'all need spiritual compatibility too. And I feel like person B is kind of like in their own world, their own head, their own fantasy about person A right now. And even though quite literally their 3D self is like trying to hold on, and there's a fire burning in the background, and I don't know if you guys remember that meme, that girl just freaking sob laughing, and there's a fire in the background with the house, and like she's just kind of like thumbs up, and like she's cool and shit, and like oh my god, and like she's clearly not okay. But person B is kind of giving me that vibes, like their 3D self is especially feeling that way. And the thing is, they may not show it to people, and I think that they are hiding how they feel from the world. And when they're alone, they think about the separation and in this connection and how it affected them, and they're very much bothered by it. They do think about how this ended. They think about what could have been. They think about how they felt when they were with person A, and they want that feeling again. But I don't think person B respectfully understands that they must be there for themselves too, instead of waiting for someone to give them that security and that stability, that comfort. So I don't know if person B struggled with a lot of codependency in this connection, and it's why things sort of played out the way it did, because I'm hearing from both higher selves that like person A needs someone to keep themselves in check, and person B needs someone secure as well. And the thing is, person A is secure. The thing is, person A is secure, but person B needs to also have that for themselves and on their own. And it's like, it's almost like I don't want to say injustice to person A. It's almost like it's quite unfair for person A to have to fix person B, if that makes sense. And I feel like it's not person A's job to be someone's therapist in this situation, and I don't think that's what either one wanted to do. I don't think that's something that they like mutually agreed to do, right? I just feel like it is giving me the vibe that person B needed like more guidance, and there's this inner child feeling with person B that like person A can't, like person A is aware that they can't fully give that to person B, that kind of healing. Why? Because person B's healing is so personal, and like person B could have struggled to do their part in the relationship, the connection here, and that's why things ended, because person A was sensing that this wasn't evolving, this wasn't capable of evolving anymore. And I think that person B feels guilty about that too, that they haven't been working on themselves, that they haven't done better whilst they were with person A and tried to improve. Honestly, I think they think a lot about how their actions could have been different, and how things could have been, you know, on a different path if they had just made the right choice. But there's a lot of guilt here, there's a lot of self-sabotage, and there's a lot of like, I think, upheaval in this person's life, especially with the number 5 here and the Tower. Like there's so much change, there's so much like it feels like this feels like person A was a catalyst for person B to realize that like you know, you can't keep living in your fears and your fantasies, right? It feels comfortable, but at some point you're going to realize that life exists outside of that little bubble that you do have. And there's nothing wrong with retreating and coming back to yourself and your bubble. Like we all need that. But I feel like person B was very much comfortable in that, and they do feel remorseful and guilty for not choosing better decisions and making better decisions from an empowered, healing place with person A. But I feel like their higher self is telling them, now you can do better. Now you have the choice to heal. Now you have the option to heal. And you no longer have to see things from an unclear lens anymore. Especially with this Four of Cups, I feel like this person B is beginning to see clearly now and see things in hindsight that, oh shit, they really could have been different. And I've been reacting from a place of fear. And I feel like person B is just now beginning to awaken to their intuitive truth and their higher self and what their higher self was saying all along, right? And especially what person A was trying to tell them. So they're definitely thinking about what person A has said to them. And now it's clicking. Now it's making sense even more. There is a feeling that person B does want to explore much more with person A, if I'm going to be honest. And there's a feeling of like temptation too. Like I have the key. But like I know I have to do my part in taking it and turning it in the lock and to open this myself. That would be something I have to do myself. And I think their higher self is wanting to teach person B how to have more control, not in an egotistical sense, but how to realize that they do have the power to create change and invite new things in their life, and how to be more assertive and direct. So maybe person B struggled with being assertive and direct in this connection, and that was also why it led to its downfall, is what I heard. I feel like person B doesn't feel the same as they did before with this person, and in this separation, this connection, I feel like they've changed, or they're changing a lot, and they're grieving this little person that they used to be and that they thought was okay, and they have every right to do so. I feel like person B might be grieving a little bit, honestly. I think they might be grieving who they used to be with person A, and it honestly seems like the two of you had shared wonderful memories and shared such great, deep, profound experiences that they miss. I think they miss feeling cared for. They miss feeling special. They miss feeling like seen and heard, and now they just feel really dark and empty. They feel like no one sees them. They feel like no one understands them, and they're looking for that love and adoration. But what they really need is their self. They need a strong connection to their inner child and themselves again in their heart. And I feel like certain events in their life are taking place where they're realizing that, you know, they can't continue to stay hidden like this. You know, what's causing this abandonment, what's causing this cycle continuously. I feel like this is not their first rodeo where this has happened in connections, to be honest. I feel like person B has been through a lot. But you know what? I hardly spoke about person A. I feel like, you know, I just need to pull some more information about them. Person A, Spirit, how are they approaching this separation? Yeah, look at this, Six of Swords. This person has found their like truth and their peace, and they're good. You know, like this person has made, oopsies. This person has really made their peace with what's happened, and yeah, they're like staying committed to the lessons that they learned, and they're just trying to appreciate themselves right now and trying to have better boundaries, if anything. I feel like they're just working on themselves, and I feel like, you know, person A is honestly focused on their peace and their truth, and they're trying to see things clearly, and they know something fated happened here. I think that they're very much aware that a lesson unfolded here for them and for person B. But I feel like person A is much more secure in what they know now and their truth and their healing now. They're aware that their healing is still happening regardless of the ending, and they still have themselves regardless of the ending, whereas person B feels like they don't have themselves. They don't feel comfortable alone. They don't feel all right with being alone, and there's a change happening here. I think a lot of what's taking place in this connection and this separation has taught person B to feel comfortable alone and to feel okay with being alone, because the thing is, no one's ever promised to stay. No one's ever, you know, promised to really be with us forever. And as much as we'd like to think that, some things happen in life where that's not often the case. And I feel like person B is meant to get more comfortable in their presence, in their life, and in themselves, for sure. There's a feeling of person B feeling like they're hidden, like they can't fully see person A anymore. So maybe there was like a definitely ending, of course, and Yeah, I don't know if somebody blocked someone here, but there's a feeling like person B can't see person A. So maybe there's like physical distance or someone moved away here. But yeah, they feel like they're not the apple of the eyes of person A. Yeah, oh. Yeah, let's get you some advice now. Alrighty, Spirit, let's get some advice for person A in this separation. The High Priestess. Yeah, look at that. Just continuing to focus on intuition here. Advice for person A. Spirit. Three of Pentacles. All right, person B. Let's get some advice for person B. Page of Cups. That makes sense. I know you're like, oh, how does that make sense? Like, tell me, you're the one reading. I will. Five of Wands already. All right, person A on the left side. Your advice is to continue following your intuition and your intuitive truth and continue expanding your social circle, because there are going to be soul connections that you do meet and that will come for you and will fit and align with your needs. So definitely continue to follow your intuition. I'm going to give you the same advice as I gave pile 1 because it's very similar to that. Nothing can go wrong if you're following your heart and your intuition. You cannot get it wrong if you're doing that. You cannot make a mistake in your healing if you already had the intention of healing, right? The mistakes are not a sign of failure. They're a sign of growth, right? I'm pretty sure you know that, being that, you know, person A seems very much in touch with their healing, but I feel like you are going to meet intuitive people and soul connections that can open you up, and you don't need to stay so reserved and quiet. I feel like there are going to be experiences in which you will open up again to people. I feel like you just know your truth and you're rocking it. You're yeehawing in your life, honestly, and keep doing that. Keep doing what makes you feel good. Keep sitting in your intuitive truth and don't neglect that for anybody who tells you otherwise. I feel like it's so important for you to stay in your truth and to stay stable in what it is you know, and to stay in stable connections for sure. So if you know like this had to happen for a reason and it was like a necessary ending, you know, stick to your truth for sure. But for person B, there's a need to emotionally mature yourself, and there's a need to get over some sort of emotional conflict that's present here. And I say that respectfully and lovingly because like with the Page of Cups, there's a need to see something from a more wise lens, a more matured lens, and there's a need to heal something emotionally here, some sort of conflict, some sort of inner tension here. And I feel like your advice is to continue to get deeper in yourself emotionally to sort out this tension, this conflict for sure, and to release any baggage, release any sense of competition here with this person, release the need, release the idea that you have to compete with this person or compete in love to get what it is that you deserve, right? I think there is a real need to release how you look at love and how you look at relationships and how you once thought they were supposed to unfold. And there's a need to look at it in a much more evolved lens. Maybe in your past you have to grow, you've grown up around people who taught love is competition and love should be something you fight for constantly. And that, you know, you can't have it a peaceful way. And I feel like your higher self is urging you to see that in a different lens. And especially throughout this ending, the separation, it's meant to help you realize you don't need to be fighting for love, and you don't need to abandon yourself to compete for love, right? Because if you think about it, competing for someone else's attention and love is already a sign that you don't feel comfortable with what you give to yourself, and you don't feel like you have your full presence at hand. And that's why you feel the need to go to someone else and compete, right? It's such a competition if you don't feel good enough, right? And I feel like confidence is quiet, insecurity is loud as well. So definitely look to the parts of you that need healing. If you're person B watching, look to the parts of you that do need a lot of healing and reassurance and need your attention. You need to step up for yourself here and explore your emotional truth and your validation within yourself, right? And to not think that you're not good enough for someone, and that you're not, there's a need to realize that you are good enough for people, and you are good enough to experience love, and to need to step up more securely in yourself and your worth here. So I would say continue working on your self-esteem, continue working on your emotional advancement and growth, and continue to detach from the way that people around you saw love and how love should be, and release their narratives, because their narratives are hurting you. Their narratives are not helping you find the person you need to be with. Their narratives are not helping you get closer to your emotional and intuitive truth anymore. And if it was working, wouldn't it have worked out by now, right? That's the real question. And I feel like for person A, continue to nurture your intuition, continue to do meditations that help you, continue to tap into your wisdom. And if you know person B is just not evolved enough to stay in the connection, then follow your intuitive truth. And honestly, you know what's best, and you use your discernment in this connection. Use your discernment in future connections too, because it's very important. And I feel like Spirit's giving both of y'all like a clap on your back, because like y'all are both healing through so much, and y'all are both awakening through so many. You're awakening so much, and you guys both deserve a hug, honestly. You guys both do, but I feel like person A might just be like, okay, hands off, like just, you know. But yeah. All right, thank you so much, pile 2, for watching. I really hope that this resonated and got you some clarity, depending on who you were. Thank you so much again for watching, and feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It would greatly help this channel. I'll see you again, hopefully. Bye. Hi there, pile 3. Welcome to your reading. Today we're going to be discussing what you need to know about this separation. So we're going to be looking at the general vibe check of this connection, which is this card. And if you don't resonate with this, you can skip forward to another pile by all means. And then we're going to be doing higher self versus 3D self for both you and your person A, person B style. So if you find yourself in both piles, that just means the energy is mirroring. You don't need to just be person A. You can be whoever you want to be. And then we'll give you some advice at the end. So stick along for that. Ooh, we have the number 6, party leader. Okay, love this. So right away, unconditional loving energy. There's been a balance here. I think the separation, one, either could have made you both rebalance how you saw love, how you view love, and brought more of a balance in your life than you were together. 2, you could be very much focused on yourself and cultivating more self-love right now. And could have been in a connection that like drained you and could have been a detriment to your health. I feel like maybe you or this person or this connection could have been, I'm picking up on multiple groups here, so I'm just gonna say it. I feel like maybe one or some of y'all have had a great connection. I've had a connection filled with laughter, fun, joy, warmth, intimacy, connection, and like lots of hopes and dreams just kind of came true. And I feel like you guys were both really expressive with one another and like celebrating each other. And I feel like it was such a great connection where you felt heard and seen, and you felt really cared for with this person. Either that or walking away from this person brought more joy and laughter and love into your life, and it's what you needed, and you didn't know you were missing out on so much. And now you're more focused on making your dreams come true and getting the recognition you know you deserve, and moving on with either someone else that sees you for who you really are, right? And I feel like you've been working on expression, speaking up more. I feel like maybe this connection could have helped you with that, or walking away made you realize that you need to work on self-expression, communication, being more outgoing, being perceived. You need to work on that, right? And I feel like for a lot of you, you've been healing a lot, and you've been honestly trying to have a great time with yourself and the people around you. You've been focused on like going out again, having new experiences. You've been, you know, just exploring fun again, and there's this sense of like inner child and just like making your dreams come true. And for some of y'all, that dream did come true with or without this person, and you've just been feeling wonderful. There's been a lot of recognition. You're maybe surrounded by a lot of people, right? Or this connection was once surrounded by a lot of people, and the influences were not helpful. They were just detrimental to the connection, and that could have led to the downfall of it. But definitely let's get into the reading now. All right, I'm back. I couldn't shuffle on camera. It would have taken too long. So we have your cards set up. Let's talk about this breakdown. Alrighty, so this is person A, this is person B. These two cards on both sides represent how your higher selves approach the separation, and these cards represent your 3D self. Interesting setup, I know, but bear with me. Okay, let's talk about person A. I would like to point out that it's very interesting that person A's higher self is coming through as anxiety. Because here's the thing, your higher self has enough awareness to understand the things that bring you stress and the things that don't make you feel comfortable. It has a higher awareness. So I really feel like this person is not in a place where they're listening to their higher self and where they're able to understand their higher self. I don't think that they're connected to spirituality at all. Or they could be just a little bit. But there's a feeling that they're not in touch with their higher self, and they're not in touch with the deeper aspects of themselves and of life, and maybe they're not spiritual at all, which is completely understandable and valid. And there's a lot about rejection here, and there's a lot about fear and anxiety. This person is definitely in their head, but I think that there's a third party situation that unfolded here, and I think the ending may have happened because of like financial constraints and like things outside of this connection that they both could not control, and as a result, that's could be why it ended. And listen, it's all right to have fear and anxiety. I'm not saying that as human beings we shouldn't, but it's very interesting that we got the anxiety card for the higher self, which, like I said, the higher self is responsible for awareness and brings that awareness in, and I don't think that person A is very much aware of that. I feel like they're very material focused, and nothing's, excuse me, that's a burp. Nothing's wrong with that. It's just they're out of alignment when it comes to their spiritual practices and needs. And this person B is incredibly spiritual, I will say. And they have a balance with the material realm as well. Whereas I feel like this person A, struggles with getting deeper, and they think about their responsibilities a lot. I think they have a lot of responsibilities, which contributes to this feeling of instability and self-rejection. And I think that I'm also getting a vibe that they help a lot of people, and it's why they abandon themselves, because they pick up a lot of work and responsibility for others and don't necessarily take care of themselves. And I think that their home life is struggling right now. I think that their home life is needing their attention, and it's quite possibly why this connection could have ended, because they have responsibilities in regards to the home and maybe some financial struggles too, because we do have the financial struggle card here, and we have the Page of Pentacles. So I feel like this person maybe has had to move places, or is moving out, or is trying to get a new job, or got fired recently, and their life is quite in shambles is what I heard. Person A, if you're watching this, I do apologize, and I do understand and feel for you. I do. If you're like person A watching this, I feel like your focus has very much been on the material realm. You could very much be spiritual, but your focus has been on the material realm for quite some time, and it's been needing your attention. And something about home life and stability, like things have been chaotic there too for person A, and it contributes to maybe this ending here, this separation, because of a third party. And I don't like to use that word, third party, but what I mean by that, it could have been a family member they're responsible for. It could have been a household they're responsible for, so maybe they do have kids. It could have been, you know, like a job that they got fired from, you know, it could be many things, not just like a person they could have been with. I do feel like person A is doing a lot of self-rejection and is fighting off feelings of fear and anxiety, but it's not bringing them calm and peace. Rather, it's bringing a lot more resistance to the ending of this connection, and they're not wanting to face their anxieties and worries because there's a feeling that person A is quite overwhelmed already, and the separation feels like it was just like an add-on to that. And I don't mean to disrespect person B. I feel like person A is going through a lot in terms of like their responsibilities, and they quite don't know how to manage it all right now, and it seems like person A is needing some support right now, some mental health support for sure. I feel like person A has been trying to develop their finances for some time, and maybe something happened in which it did not improve, and they're taking that as a hit to their self-esteem. And they could place their worth on money, and if they don't have money, they see themselves as not worthy or good enough, or they deem themselves as not good enough without money. And I think that there's a higher truth to that, and there's a higher truth that you are good enough no matter what's going on in your life. And I feel like this person A, just struggles to see that. And I feel like they're very much in touch with the physical. They're very in touch with the physical. And I do feel like they've been solo for some time now. I feel like this separation would have happened a while ago as well. I feel like there's been a great deal of time of distance between the two. And this person has been quite on their solo journey, developing their finances and developing their roots and their stability. They're establishing some sort of stability here. I feel like this person also viewed the separation as quite sudden and unexpected. And it's very interesting that I'm using the word like past tense, like viewed, because I do think that this already like happened a while ago. I think that this is something this person still reflects onto and carries a lot of guilt and shame, not being able to step up and be the person you wanted them to be and needed them to be. And they lose a lot of sleep over the decision that they made with you. They could have been the one to end things, honestly, as a form of self-rejection, or the circumstances were just not letting up for them to experience this connection here, and they're guilty that their life could not have been better, you know, and they weren't making improvements there. There's a sense that they do stay up at night thinking about person B, and that person A does struggle to, their mind ruminates a lot about the ending and the separation here. And I don't think that person A feels secure in themselves to handle this ending and this separation. Now, they are persevering and trying to be strong, but I think it's leading to more misery because it's not necessarily bringing them peace. They're resisting something about this ending, this separation. I think that this person A, for some time has been struggling to give to themselves abundantly, like emotionally, physically, and mentally, and like they were struggling to be their own best friend and be their own solid support. So now that person B is gone, they feel like they don't have that solid support anymore. And what's interesting is I feel like person B could have been financially providing for person A, maybe. Or person A could have wanted to be the one providing for person B, and now they can't, and they feel like they're not worthy or good enough because of that, and it's impacting their self-esteem and how they see themselves in this connection. I feel like their home life right now is coming up really strong, and I think that this person is struggling a lot with chaos in their home life, or they're having a lot of responsibility when it comes to their home life and a lot of arguments there maybe. And it's just not good for their headspace right now. And I don't think that this person is able to see things clearly and operate from a clear space. And I think person A is out of touch with their higher self because they're dealing with so many responsibilities and issues right now, which is completely understandable. And I do think that they're very anxious about person B. They're anxious about where person B stands, how they're feeling, and where person B is at if they've moved on. And there's a sense of like competition or jealousy too, I'm not going to lie. Like there's a sense of like they're wondering if person B has found someone else better. And you know what, instead of that like encouraging person A to step up, I feel like they're using it to self-reject and shame themselves instead, that they couldn't have person B and that there's another one for person B. I feel like they're using that as a self-fulfilling prophecy to feed into their negativity and the choices that they made. And that could have been like an issue in the connection because like they just weren't, that could have been like a problem in the connection as well. The self-sabotage and the avoidance and the self-esteem. For person B, I feel like person B has moved on, and I think that they're focused on balancing themselves and how they manage their work. So maybe person B did get a new job, maybe person B is financially starting something new, they're moving forward, and something regarding their manifestations has come through. And I feel like person B is very abundant, and like person A is kind of, they feel like they're on the sidelines watching person B be so successful. And I don't know if person A is like stalking person B's social media, but they definitely see person B in a very high regard. Like person B has it all, and person B is very much abundant and fruitful in what they do. And I feel like person B got there because they worked really hard, is what I heard. I didn't just get there because I was lucky. No, I made the decisions that I had to make in order to improve myself. And I feel like person B understands the true work of like, you know, the inner work of confidence. They really understand where confidence comes from. And I feel like person B has been successful in their financial endeavors and in their connections as well. I feel like they've met wonderful people who have been able to fulfill them the way that they've been looking for. And I feel like person B is fruitful. I feel like they're enjoying their time, they're in the present moment, and they're so happy to be moving forward, and they're finding their true power, and they're finding the meaning behind their actions now and how that can create balance. I feel like this person is alchemizing a lot, like person B is alchemizing a lot emotionally and has been through a lot already and has released. And now they understand that they can enjoy the fruitful harvest of their dreams now, right? And I feel like there's something new happening in person B's life that I feel like person A might be seeing and comparing themselves to. And that's not a very great thing to do because, once again, self-esteem. And I feel like person A, and they are inspired, they do look up to person B, but when it comes to being better for themselves, they're not comfortable with building a connection with themselves. And they feel, person A feels like they're lacking themselves, they're lacking a solid foundation in themselves, and they feel like they have a lot of skeletons in the closet, is what I heard. And it could be why they struggle to open up emotionally, because they have a dark past, they have like a very heavy past. And the truth is that we all do, and I don't think person A understood that or wanted to revel in that truth. And I don't think they felt comfortable in sharing aspects of themselves like that, where person B felt more confident. Person B could have been very open, communicative, expressive, and could have been the one balancing things in this connection. They could have been the one wanting a new beginning in this connection, where person A just wasn't allowing that to come through due to their fears. And I think person A, held themselves back a lot and rejected themselves from this new beginning because they thought they weren't worthy of it. And I think that person B now is finding their way. They are successful. They're choosing success. They're choosing to start over. They're choosing to attract what is actually meant to stay in their life now. And I feel like they've blown up on social media too. They could have a big following, and if not, like, they're very beautiful. And I feel like person A gets hung up on the fact that, like, I had person B and like I fumbled the bag, you know. There's that kind of energy. And like they see person B thriving, being successful and such. And I feel like person B approaching the separation is focusing on what's next. They're focusing on what's new. I feel like they're a go-getter, and they're the person that's onto the next, and like they've been alchemizing a lot of energies within themselves to bring harmony and the peace they know that they deserve. And I feel like person A, on the other hand, is just, they have a lot of stress and responsibility to think about. I think even outside of this connection that they're still focused on, and they haven't fully let go or healed enough to the point where they realize that they're worthy of love too. And everyone's worthy of love no matter where they are in this lifetime. And I feel like person A struggles with that concept or that fact because they feel like it's been locked away from them. They operate from a mindset that love is hard to get, and that love is too far, and it's an outrage, and they have to do so much to be loved in return. And it could be why they pick up so much responsibility for others, because they feel if they do, they'll be loved in return, when they should be loved for who they are already, and they don't have to give anything to earn love. So they may view love as a means to earn. I do feel that person B would have been the one to approach this connection from like, let's do this, let's do that, like let's be open about this, let's see where this can go. And I feel like person A was just very afraid of intimacy and love. And I think that person A has been through a lot in their childhood and in their lifetime, where they've learned that in order to be loved, you have to earn it, and you have to give more than you receive. And this has been a thing even before they met person B. This has been a long-standing wounding that has been there for a long time. And the thing is, I think that person B understands that and sees that. And I think person B's higher self is wanting to bring more balance into person B's life, and is actually trying to manifest something new here. Trying to like bring something into fruition here. Something more stable. And it's interesting because this adds up to number 4, which is this number of stability. And this is 8. And this is the Ace of Pentacles, which talks about long-term stability and growth. I feel like person B's higher self is trying to bring something into fruition, or help person B realize that they deserve long-term stability in their connections and emotional spiritual fulfillment. And very well, they could be listening to their higher self and trying to just do what's right to their higher self in their heart right now. And they're trying to move forward in success right now. And I feel like person A, their higher self, is definitely wanting them to realize that they're very much stuck and centered in their fears right now. And that love doesn't need to be so hard to receive. And you don't have to fight for love. You don't have to compete. You don't have to shame yourself to be loved. You don't have to. There is no pride in hurting yourself to be loved. You know, if anything, it says more about how you treat yourself and what you really think about love than actually receiving love in return, right? It's more of like your action speaks volumes. And if you see yourself worthy of being hurt in order to be loved, then please get some help. Please get some help, because that's not the truth of love. And you don't have to hurt yourself in order to be loved. You don't have to be considered worthless in order to be loved. You don't have to be the ugly duckling to be loved, you know? And I just feel like person A has been through a tremendous amount of stress and like wounding. And I feel like this ending happened to show their instability and to show the things in their life that need their attention. And that they can't keep avoiding the things that need to change and building stability for themselves. They can no longer avoid doing inner work, because this adds up to the number 9. And when I think about the number 9, I think about, when it adds up to the number 9, I think about it being about stability and a solo journey. And the number 9 is about a solo journey in tarot. And I feel that person A can no longer avoid the inner work that they're meant to do, and this solo journey that they may have been on for some time now, or they will be on. I feel like a lot about their journey is about self-improvement and building confidence in themselves, and it's why they may feel some kind of way when they see person B succeeding and improving. Why? Because that's what they want. You know, I feel like their intuition is saying, I want this, but like I don't know how to get it, and therefore it's creating more anxiety and insecurity in person A, because they want to be where person B is at, and they don't know how to get there. They don't know how to start within their life. And They're feeling a great load of stress because of that. And person A, if you're watching this, I'm wishing you the best. And honestly, like, we're all human beings and we all experience a lot of things in our life that maybe we don't understand. And, you know, we all go through it, and I understand completely. And we all deserve love and compassion no matter where we're at. And I feel like person A is just trying to find their way. And I feel like person A is trying to be strong and confident for themselves and the people around them. And I feel like person A, it's not your job to be the strong one all the time. If you can open up to someone and share how you feel, it can help to shave off some of the stress on your shoulder, you know? But it's obviously if you want to, you know, if you want to open up, it's always a choice, right? And I feel like their higher self is kind of saying, you know, or making it clear to them they've been making a lot of decisions from a place of self-sabotage and not a place of true empowerment, a place of true confidence. And I feel like person B kind of walked into their life to show them what they were missing and what needed to be healed within themselves. I feel like this is a classic, like, I'm holding up a mirror to you connection, and person B did that for person A, and hence why this connection could have been very intense for person A to open up to, because person B was like a mirror, right? And I don't think person B did this intentionally at all. I don't think person B is malicious, and I don't think person A is either. I feel like person B, was trying to get person A to understand the necessity of having a self-esteem and the necessity of allowing yourself to be loved and saying yes and saying no and being clear on your boundaries. And I feel like person A is very much gentle in their heart. They have a soft spot for people, but they're not there for themselves. They very well could have been there for person B, but when it came to showing up for themselves, they did not do that. They struggled with that, and eventually it went into this connection. It affected this connection because they weren't being there for themselves either. Let's get some more cards for person A, please. So I feel like there's something I might be missing. How is person A showing up to this separation? Spirit, how is person A showing up to this? Two of Pentacles. Yeah, a lot about money, a lot about finances. The Magician. Oh my gosh. Wait a minute. The Magician and the Magician and the Mirror. That is, okay, that is hecking interesting. Alrighty, I feel like because person B is entertaining a lot of success and new experiences, they are drawn to person B's energy still. However, they're prioritizing a lot in their life right now that doesn't include romance or like a huge connection per se. They're not in a place where they can properly hold one. I feel like a lot of their attention is on money right now and about building their finances and about trying to balance a lot of that. And they want to be more important to person B. They want to be more involved in person B's life. With the Magician, they want to be of use. They want to show up skilled. But when they really think about it, their focus is on money right now and about building their finances, and they can't make the room or the space for person B the way that they want to, and they idolize. I think they idolize taking a lot of control and action, and they think about being direct in their advancements. But when it comes to person B, and the thing is, they might be very direct in their finances, but when it comes to person B, it's very different. They don't feel the same way. They feel very weak and they feel insecure. Because a part of them, when it comes to love and connection, they don't know how to receive. They're very much a giver. And this is the detriment of being a giver, right? I feel like right now, person A is very much focused on, and notice how I'm not even talking about the separation much. I'm talking about the things person B is focused on outside of this connection. And I feel like they're not able to properly think about person B and process what's happened here. And I think the only time that they really have to themselves might be at nighttime when they're alone, and even then it's just fear and anxiety that comes up. regarding person B. I think they replay the ending a lot. And I think how they approach this this ending is that they use work to distract themselves. I think they use that to cope because they don't know any other healthier way to cope. And I think even at times they may admit to themselves, like, shit, I'm using work as a way to avoid this instead of dealing with it properly. And then they do know. I think that they are aware of what's going on. And I don't think that they're capable of changing that fully. And I have a lot of compassion for person A. I do. And I think I understand person A's struggle. And I think that person B, as of right now, is very much focused on their health, their wellness, their peace, their confidence as of right now, and moving forward. I think they're very much focused on moving forward, moving on, and moving to where they need to be. And it's about putting their energy where it belongs, is what I'm understanding here. I get the feeling both people are not really wanting this, or there could be a want, actually. There could be a want, yes, but life is pulling them into a different direction. Like, they've outgrown this connection, and the circumstances are not adding up for this connection anymore. The circumstances are not allowing this connection to come through anymore. And I think that it's sort of divine rejection is divine protection. Yes, I think it's about that. I think it greatly is about that. And I think person B might be aware of that. This can't work and this isn't going to move forward the way that they're hoping, and they've made their peace with that, and they're moving on, they're moving forward. And I think that person B does think about, I think person A does think about person B a lot, yes. But life keeps pulling their attention in a different direction, and they're not able to focus on the true healing that is required of them, you know, when it comes to themselves and how they view love. I think that person A has a lot to go in terms of their healing and finding out their emotional truth and processing their past experiences. And I think that meeting person B was a very perplexing time for them, because they were intrigued by person B's spiritualness, and they were intrigued by person B's etherealness and connection to spirituality, but when they themselves had little to no understanding of what that was. And I feel that they may have even rejected the idea that something bigger could be out there, but person B still stayed confident in what they knew was best for them to follow in terms of faith. And let's just say I feel like person B kind of had a huge neon sign on top of their head, was like, I'm spiritual and you can't change that. And person A was just intrigued by it, yes. And I don't think that they tried to change person B necessarily, but person A was just kind of not aligned with person B, if that makes sense. There's a feeling of like a mismatch here, almost. Yeah. But I feel like ultimately person B is in a much happier place as of now, and they're not necessarily focused on the separation. They found a way to move on. They found a way to alchemize their feelings, their wounds. And I'm not saying person B has it easy or has had it easy. I think they've alchemized a lot and has been through a massive transformation, honestly, because we have the number 8 here, and I feel like since the separation, person B has, and it's 333 on the clock, I feel like they've been through a massive transformation in how they view this separation in themselves, in this connection. They've been through a lot tremendously, and that's where they are now today, like how they got there. But person A, I feel like it would help you to, if you're watching in your person A, please foster some more compassion to yourself and acceptance, and, you know, allow yourself to have an experience. Allow yourself to take care of yourself. You've been doing so much for other people, you know. It's okay to come back to yourself and your truth. It's okay to be there for yourself the way you are for other people. But let's get you some advice for both people, person A, person B. And if you want to skip forward to where person well, whichever person you identify with. If you want to just only watch that, that's completely valid and understandable. So depending on who you are, this will resonate for you. Okay, let's get advice for person A, Spirit. The Emperor. The Knight of Swords. Ooh. Let's get advice for person B. What was that? Six of Pentacles in reverse. Let's get advice for person B. The Two of Cups. All right, we're going to start with person A first. So for person A, your advice is to be more firm and disciplined in your truth when it comes to this connection, and to see things clearly, and to be more disciplined when it comes to your mental state. To take care of your mental state a lot more and focus on clarity, focus on delivering truth to yourself. Yeah, and to focus on delivering truth to yourself and to be more firm in your life. Take action and feel good in the action you're going to take. Try to take life by the reins, right? And if you have any kind of mask, it's an important time to bring that down and see the truth, see clearly. You know, I feel like the Emperor can have a mask on and have an ego. So it's important that you're not feeding your ego by the narrative you tell yourself. It's important to change your perception, to change your narrative, and to see things from a different sense, a different viewpoint. And journaling would help you greatly, person A. I feel like that would help you greatly. And yes, if you have any mask or persona, to see past that, to see past the physicalness of this connection, and what seems like what it is on the surface is not. That's a message from Spirit. And I feel like it's time to cultivate stability and truth and honesty within yourself about how you maybe showed up in this connection, and how it affected you and affected this person too, right? It's a time to be honest and truthful, and to be more stable in your decisions now in your life, to take a more active role and stance in your mental health. For person B, it's time to focus on connections that bring more reciprocation, and get out of connections that don't bring a sense of stability. It's time to continue choosing people who choose you. It's time to be with very soul connected people. It's time to be with people who connect with your soul. Gosh, all that coffee it took. Yes, it's time for more spiritual connections. It's time to dive into the heart. It's time to dive into more emotional centered practices with people, and to slowly transition out of the material realm. Obviously keep a balance, but I feel like you're being called to more so prioritize the spiritualness of your connections now, and how people see you and how you see them. It's important to focus on if you like that person, if you want to be with them, versus how they really see you and what they think of you, right? I think it's time to choose connections that choose you, and to be fair within your heart and in yourself, and to pursue someone who pursues you. Also, this could be future advice that like someone who sees eye to eye with you is coming in, and someone who values you is going to come in soon, which is wonderful. But I feel like there is a need to balance your finances as well. I need to balance your routine, and balance what you're giving and receiving to other people as well, and to choose people who choose you. But yeah, pile 3, that's what I have for you. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope this brought you a sense of clarity and peace. Let me know if it resonated down below. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It will help this channel greatly. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Bye.